G'day friends, welcome to day 22 of Mermay. I hope it's 22, let me check. 22. Welcome to day 22. I should have known because I think I celebrated the 3-week mark yesterday. Today's piece is really interesting because I went through an old, what's over there, an old pouch that I have from my Sky Bambi companion leather. Oh, also, if you hear some really loud shrieking noise, the fire alarms went off this morning and one of the fire detectors is still making that like squeaky sound, so sorry about that. Hopefully the background noise cancellation will take it out, but it's pretty piercing, so I imagine it's gonna make its way through every now and again. It's been irritating me all morning and the cats are acting up because of it, so it's just gonna be a mess. But I had a pouch that was full of old photos that I had printed, and I came across it the other day, just went through them all, took a whole bunch, and started using them. And one of them in there was a screenshot I took of the Alexander Gerard dolls. Now, I have seen these, and I took photos of them and little videos of them when I went to Itoya in Ginza, and like back in 2019, and I actually thought they were Kokeshi dolls originally, and I have a few Kokeshi dolls up there. That's literally a painting of one of them. My gran used to buy me these Kokeshi dolls when I was a teenager because I love Japan, and she bought me my first one, and I have a bunch of others. There's that noise. Ugh, it's so bad. Sorry if you have cats and dogs, because they probably hate that. I took photos and videos of them because I thought they were Kokeshi dolls. I thought they were so beautiful and like very modern versions. I knew nothing about Alexander Gerard when I saw them. In fact, I don't even think I knew they were Alexander Gerard dolls. But I came across them on Instagram, funnily enough, years ago, took a screenshot, printed the photo, thought, oh great, I'll have that for reference. Never used it, found it in this pouch, stuck it in the book, and I thought I'm going to use that as my inspiration. When I use something as inspiration, it could be anything. It could be a direct reference that I want to copy so that I can learn something from it. So I've been taking direct reference, like inspiration, I guess you could just call it direct reference, from Greg Barnes, costume designer, because I wanted to learn some of the hands and I wanted to learn the specifics of the style of those kind of like late 80s fashion illustration figures. So that was something that I'll like literally just kind of copy to try and figure it out. And then, so I directly referenced that. But then as far as like how much inspiration I pull from something when I use the photo, it could be anything. It usually could be like a pose. I could just use the color palette. Sometimes I really like the colors and the patterns. Sometimes I just want to be able to reference or like use one specific bit of it, like lips or teeth. Like if I don't know how to do that, shadows can be a really good thing as well. Backgrounds. It really doesn't matter what I kind of pull out of it. Sometimes I'll just pull it because I like it, and one day I'll be inspired by it. It may not be the day that I actually took the screenshot like this. I took the screenshot years ago. I printed it out years ago. I've only just put it in my book to use it. But I generally believe that if you're collecting a bunch of stuff that you enjoy and you like looking at, it does tend to inspire you in ways that maybe you didn't even think of in the beginning. So originally I thought I'd probably just use the color palette and the patterns, and also kind of the general idea of the dolls, like the wooden dolls. They're very interesting looking. I've since found out that Alexander Gerard is an American designer. He was an architect, interior designer, furniture designer, textile designer, and that these wooden dolls was something that he made for his home. And they're inspired by folk art because he was a big lover of folk art. He's mid-century designer, so I guess that aesthetic really speaks to me as well, and that's probably why I enjoy it. But even like his textile design is very reminiscent of what this is, and it also feels very Mary Blair-esque. There's such a beautiful use of color and pattern, and there's also a lot of naivete to his illustrations, and there's a simplicity that is like deceptively simple. And those are types of qualities that I found in Mary Blair's work that I really, really enjoyed as well. And she was also very inspired by folk art and other cultures, and it just is really interesting. So go check out Alexander Gerard if you want to. He has since passed away. I think he passed away in 1993. I was just on his Wikipedia before I pulled up the camera. But yeah, that's about as much as I've got to share about him. Love the dolls. Probably would consider buying one now if I was back in Japan. I think I could get them online, but sometimes these things are something I want to pick up in person because I like the story attached, or I think it's a a more personal kind of artifact to have in my home if it was connected to like a trip or something. So if I bought one of these in Japan and brought it back with me, it just feels a little bit more special than ordering it online and then putting it in my home, because I don't know, my feelings about the things that I surround myself with in my home are kind of changing. It's less about the decorative quality of the piece and more about the kind of story that it has and what it reminds me of when I look at it. Because I think originally when I moved here and Steve and I were kind of living by ourselves and trying to decorate a place, we were just picking things that were like, okay, well, we like mid-century stuff, so this is a mid-century piece of furniture, so it must go in our house. And yes, that's all fine and that's all good, but, you know, all the little knickknacks and bric-a-brac, all that kind of stuff, I mean, there's little things that aesthetically I don't think are beautiful things to have in the home, but, you know, I purchased it on Disney Cruise Line, and that really makes me happy to see that when I see that there. The picture that my sister gave me of my nephew is in a big frame and just over there, because that's family and I love photos as well. And all of the photos or the big artwork we have on the walls in the living room is something that Steve and I created. Like, we drew it. One of them is the drawing I did of our wedding invitation blown up really big. Steve's like above our television, we have a big photo of Venice that Steve took, printed on canvas. It's like there's just all handmade personal stuff everywhere. So I think if I were to get one of these dolls, the wooden dolls, I would like one, but I think I want to just come by it. So however that happens, who knows, maybe I'll find it back in Ginza again. But anyway, today I decided to use them as inspiration to make my own wooden dolls that were mermaids. So I was pulling only the patterns and the shapes out of it because I didn't use color at all. These are all pencil sketches. Originally I was doing them in 3D for the first one, and then I found that that would just be a touch annoying and kind of irrelevant to what I wanted to get out of this piece. And the piece is more just like an exploration and kind of a contact sheet of thumbnail sketches. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 Alexander Gerard inspired wooden doll mermaids, and I just really, really love them. Some I love more than others, which is true of the wooden dolls themselves, and I think that's also a part of it too. I feel like if I came across one, I'm 100% certain that it'd be one that I don't really like the look of. There'd be another one that I love more, but then I'd be torn. Like, do I get it because I'm coming across it, or do I not? I don't know, but that'll be a story for another time. I remember, and what I loved about my original Kokeshi doll, my gran took me to this store at Erina Fair. It's not there anymore. It was called T2. I believe those stores still exist. It was a tea store. You could get these loose leaf teas, which back then was kind of a big deal. I think it's quite common now to be able to get loose product of many things in stores. Ironically, because isn't that how products used to be back in the 20s? Like, you'd scoop your flour up into a paper bag. But this loose leaf tea store had a section at the back at Erina Fair, and it was just like little Japanese trinkets and like chopstick holders, chopsticks themselves. Just a whole bunch of little Japanese things that I think they'd imported over just to kind of fit the vibe of the store and just to have other merchandise that went along with the tea. But there was just a tiny little stand of Kokeshi dolls, and I just remember every time we would go there, I'd literally hope that we could go to Erina Fair so that I could go to the store and just look at the Kokeshi dolls. There was something about them that was so enchanting, and I just really loved it. It was right at the peak of my obsession with Japanese culture and learning language at school. I just really, really loved it, and I thought there was this one that was just so beautiful, and she had a little red, like, ball. She's up there. She had a little red ball in her hair that I thought was really cute. I loved the red. She was a cherry, I think cherry wood. She's like I say she's a blonde one. She is a light colored wood. Like, a lot of the woods were a lot darker, and I just thought she was so pretty, and she is still so pretty. And I just remember thinking, like, I'm never gonna get these. These were about $70 back then. Very, very expensive. And I just wanted to keep looking at it. I thought one day I would have enough money, I would just buy it myself. And because I kept going back, I guess, one day my gran just bought it for me. and she's been one of my most treasured possessions ever since. When I did the Art Snacks challenge and I had that wooden canvas, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I never paint anything too serious or anything actually good. Like, I always just, you know, race through my artwork and have fun, but I thought, well, I'm gonna dedicate some time and effort into this, so what do I want to paint that I would actually dedicate some time and effort to? I chose to do it, my Kokeshi doll, and so now I have her commemorated up there as well. Yeah, she sits up on my shelf up there. I brought her here. I kind of take her everywhere with me. I've taken her on contracts. I took her to Japan. She's been to Japan. She had a pilgrimage back home. I really, really love it. It's very, very special, very sentimental, since my gran has passed away, and which was always very special, but obviously now. And I have a couple of other Kokeshi dolls, and that's the thing. I think that just kind of highlights why my attitude has changed towards what I purchase and bring into the home, because the other ones, even though I do love them and they're cute and they're you know, nice, there's just so much of a story attached to that first one that I got, and it makes me feel different things, and I'm mostly only interested in feeling, you know, that when it comes to parting with money for decorative items for my home. Because I'm such a practical person as well, and I think I maybe often just I kind of like confuse this with cynicism, but a lot of the time I will kind of be a bit more practical about why I would purchase that. Like, I really want to purchase a Mermaid Jewel Hair Teresa Barbie doll, just because I bring it up all the time, and it's the thing that I think of when I think about the Barbie that I had as a kid, and I don't have her anymore, and I would just love to get one just to have it. And I know it won't be the same because, and this is where the practical side comes in, like, it's not the same thing because it's not the one that I had, but also I'm not going to unbox it and play with it. It's going to be inspiration, and it's like a little, it's like a, you know, a little visual reminder of my childhood. So I want it there for that purpose. But then I think to myself, well, there's no use for it. Like, it's just a piece of junk you're going to put in your home. And maybe that's my mum's brain talking. You know, and you got your parents just kind of talking in the back of your head. My mum says stuff like that. But I do tend to get very practical with a lot of things. And will talk myself out of it. And for a good reason. A lot of the time there is just a compulsion to buy something because I want to put it in the house because I think my house could be a little bit more decorated with it. But I don't know, maybe I'm going through a minimal phase, or maybe I'm just going through a very special curated phase. I'm less interested in everything matching. I've never really been that interested in it. I think I became interested in it because Steve liked it, and Steve liked a certain aesthetic look to everything and how it all matched. We both have, I think, around the same taste level. So I'm not looking to put, you know, things around the house that neither of us would like. And it's like not a taste thing. Like, I don't want to put anything that he would think was naff around the house, and I don't want that either. But there are certain things that, you know, I don't know. I want to buy. I'm lucky that I have the studio, because honestly I can put anything I want in here. And Steve has his studio, like an actual photo studio, so he can put a lot of his junk in there. But as far as like the common areas of the house, you know, I think I'm just going to reserve that for more sentimental, specific things that maybe we come across together. Maybe Steve and I will go to a vintage antique store or something, find something that we like. Because there are, ever since I took Christmas down, I kind of rearranged a little bit. There are a lot of empty spaces in our living room right now that I feel like could benefit from an Alexander Gerard doll. If I was a woodworker, if I had like a bandsaw and, you know, some junk wood, if I knew what I was doing with wood, I would actually make some of these dolls, like these mermaid ones, because some of them I just absolutely love the look of. I will not do it because I don't know how to operate machinery and I don't know what to do with woodworking, but you know what, my stepdad could do it. Maybe I'll take this and maybe that could be a project for when I go home. Because he did that for me years ago. Steve wanted to do a photo shoot for Christmas. He was doing a whole series that was inspired by all the holidays of the year. So I think each month he had a different holiday and he would do a photo shoot. And he was doing it with all of his friends. and it became like a huge project that he'd worked on for the entire year. It got to Christmas and he had come to visit me in Australia, and my stepdad was cutting up wood in the backyard, and Steve was doing a 12 days of Christmas, and he was like, oh, maybe could you make something that I could put in the shoot? And so I asked my stepdad to cut these little wooden discs from one of the tree trunks that had fell. It was only it was like a really small trunk, but it was thick enough to be able to create a substantial little wooden slice. And then I painted scenes of the 12 days of Christmas on them, and they were wooden ornaments. We actually hang them on our tree now every year, but he used them in that photo shoot. So that's something that I could do with him. This would require a lot more. My stepdad is unbelievably gifted in many, many areas. He's like an engineer, and he was a mechanic. He was like the local mechanic for a million years. And he knows everything about computers and like photographers, camera equipment, like video camera stuff. Like he knows everything. He's just one of those people that can do anything. He also taught design and technology at high schools for years as well. So he knows every machine and how to do everything. I get really upset whenever I have a car problem because he's a mechanic, and he owned his own mechanic business for a long, long time. And I get really mad whenever something happens to the car here because I'm so useless. But I've never had to know because he always knew. But I always just think, why can't he come here and fix it? Or if I was there, I could just give him the car. But anyway, that would be a nice thing for us to do together. I feel like he would like that. He'd probably try and teach me it. I don't want to learn it. I just want him to do it. I'll watch, but I don't want to learn it. That was the problem with the cars. I never wanted to learn any of it. I just want him to do it. But I think he would have to do some of these on one. You know those? I watch these videos all the time. You know they lock the wood on and it rotates like this, and then they put the chisel in it, and it just all the spirals of wood curls just like fly away. I think it'd have to be like that, because some of these just look like, oh, you know what I could probably get? Doorknobs. Like doorknobs and finials. If they had wooden finials at Home Depot, I reckon I could do that. I'm not going to. Why am I saying any of this? Like, I'm actually going to go and do it. Maybe. Oh, what if I did a Christmas? What if I did a Christmas version? Because there used to be a tradition I had where I would make something for us for each year for Christmas. Maybe I did it for Steve. I'm not quite sure if it was for us or Steve. But I would make Christmas things each year. Steve has the little wooden blocks. It's Noel spelt out, but sometimes I put it as Noel. Noel. Wooden blocks that are little folk arty. We've got the 12 Days of Christmas. I made him a Coco, it was a Miguel ornament that I hand painted the little Miguel onto with the Christmas thing. And I even did the ribbon. I had painted it. There might even be a YouTube video of that, because I think I was definitely on YouTube when I made that. The ribbon I had hand painted and then drew little skulls on it and put Remember Me on it. Like even on the little bow. That's a really cute one. It's sad because I know that I can paint that Miguel face better now, but honestly, it's a product of its time. And there's another thing too. I have a shadow box. I think I showed that on YouTube at one point. This is all around 2017, 2018. There's a shadow box where I had more of those wooden discs, and I had painted Oliver, Bianca, myself, and Steve in a mid-century look, and it's got all these ribbons and some beautiful vintage paper, or vintage looking paper in the back. So it's just a little family ornament shadow box. Yeah, this would be great. I'm going to put a note here actually, because I will forget. Christmas. If I do, I'm going to forget. Can someone please remind me at Christmas to make these, or a little bit before Christmas time? Ornaments. What do I want to put? Home Depot wooden finials, question mark? Sorry, the camera's probably shaking. Christmas version. Style. Because sometimes I write notes and I have no idea what they mean years later. So hopefully that's enough prompting for me. All right, I've been here for almost 20 minutes talking about nothing. as per, I gotta get ready to go to work. I've switched my days this week, so I'm in today, but I'm off tomorrow, and then I'm back again after that, and it's gonna be great. But, oh, my body could have used one extra day off. Everything needs to crack before I go. Ugh. Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye.